happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. I know you guys could probably already tell it is going down just by that title alone. Definitely going to see this one as we're witnessing Fox News, the 5 host, Harold Ford Jr. going head to head, battling it out against Jessica Tarlov to see who's been affected the most by that Trump derangement syndrome. And I will say Harold Ford Jr. is making a very strong case in this newest update, guys. I'm excited to get into it. So we're not straight into it. So make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Before we even jump into it, you guys hit that like button, also hit that subscribe button for your boy. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it, folks. Check this out.
All right, Greg Gutfeld, haven't heard from you yet, and looking forward to it.
He was unprepared, but why is that his fault? Democrats don't have to be prepared. They're usually operating under the assumption that it's going to be an easier ride for them than if you were a Republican. And he's like, what's up? What's with all this stuff? The media tried to lower expectations for Walz, and they were right to do that now that we see how he did. But they overplayed Vance's unlikability. So you were expecting something that wasn't charming, smart, or steady. So the media actually helped Vance by amplifying his unlikability. The first time you saw Vance was last night after a steady diet of media caricatures. What a shock it must have been. Wow, he's not weird. He's not mean. I mean, this guy came out and just shows you how the media lies to you. The media portrays those outside their bubble falsely. And then when you finally see the reality, then your eyes are open to the things they say. Vance also did something good. He knew this wasn't a political talk show where you try to score points by making statements loudly that will end up being retweeted. He wasn't going for the dopamine. He was going for the depth. And that was his mission. And his mission showed a contrast between steady and unsteady. He showed that a silencer is just as deadly as a shotgun. I think what is really cowardly, though, is the mistake Democrats made by not choosing Shapiro. You know, they might lose Pennsylvania. They definitely lost that debate because they wanted a guy who wasn't a Jew, you know, and now you've got a non-Jew who's frantic, nervous, chaotic liar. I think this was a real slap in the face to the Harris campaign. No offense to her husband.
Judge, I want to get to you after you watch this. This is the liberal media who was forced to praise J.D. Vance. Call for number 4.
Walz did seem unsteady, and frankly, what I saw in Walz is somebody who has not faced questions on a national stage since he became the Democratic nominee. In contrast, J.D. Vance was very smooth.
I was getting texts from Democrats, panicked, quite frankly, who were saying, wow, he's really moderating himself on a lot of these issues. He's the most likable he has ever been.
He seemed at many moments to be reasonable.
Walz did not seem prepared for it.
I mean, a lot about this debate tonight was weird. There were uncomfortable, cringy moments.
There were so many niceties on that debate stage tonight. I am just kind of like, well, if you agree so much with J.D. Vance, why should they vote for you?
All right, Judge, take it away.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, it's clear that even they understood that J.D. Vance was solid, he was friendly, he was polite, he was disciplined, and he was the kind of guy that for the first time, and by the way, 88% of the American people said that this was a debate that was civil and that they enjoyed. I mean, that's a wonderful thing. And that's because of J.D. Vance. When they tried to cut him off, and we'll talk about that later, or when Walz lied, he was polite. This is a guy who's going to reach across the aisle. This is a guy who will make not only a great vice president, but a great president one day. And I don't want to get into a lot of the small stuff, but I got to tell you, I was exhausted watching Walz. I mean, it was like this, that, eyes punched out, turn around, right down. It was almost like he was waiting for the feds to come in and arrest him or something. I was like exhausted. But J.D. Vance, he so impressed me. And I think he impressed everybody. This is a guy who's going to try to solve problems. He didn't fight. He didn't play dirty. I just want to say one more thing about Walz. You know, being a knucklehead doesn't excuse you from being a serial liar.
Exactly. There we have it. Judge Janine hitting it right on the head again. And I feel like that's how all Americans felt at home. Watching JD Vance, you were just, you felt very proud of him to be up there, being able to defend, his running mate so well, his policies, his plans. Even when it felt like a 3v1 attack on him, he just handled it so well and poised. I feel like Donald Trump and him contrasted that way where, JD Vance is not going to, throw nasty slams on you. He's not going to try to be mean or nasty. Any of the things that the left-wing media has tried to portray him to be. He's going to just straight up deliver the facts at you. And as to Tim Walz's knucklehead comment, I don't see how anyone could vote for a guy who literally called himself a knucklehead. You want to vote a knucklehead into the White House? Make it make sense, guys. It doesn't.
Excuse you from being a serial liar.
And I was saying, Harold, that Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver was a knucklehead, right? It was, but lying about things that are pretty basic, and then not having the ability to land an answer at your most important moment showed, I think, why the Democrats were nervous last night. How do you feel today?
So good to be back with everybody. I think the analysis that's been around the table, I think it was a very civil debate, and I think Tim Walz contributed to the civility also. But I think that the round robin we did with some of the other reporters and journalists who I thought were honest about it. Three of us were on last night. And I said there are 5 things I think you have to do when you are in a debate like this, president or vice president. You got to be likable and optimistic. You got to show strength and capability. You got to be smart. You got to be relatable. And ultimately, you got to show that you're presidential. J.D. Vance, you're right, Judge. He was coming from a little bit of a deficit because of some of the media characterizations, as you said, Greg. And he, you walked away. I didn't agree with him on a lot of things, but I didn't think he was a bad guy. I just think he's a guy that I don't agree with on things. But in terms of a person, a father, someone who's decent, and they agreed on child care, they agreed on guns, they agreed even in some other areas involving foreign policy, but they disagreed on some other things. I thought on the substance, JD was good on immigration and the border. He was good on the economy. He asked serious questions about why isn't the vice president doing this now? And I thought that after they took the first commercial break, Walz was good coming back as he got his stride on abortion. He talked about health care, and if we undo the Affordable Care, what happens? I thought JD didn't have, that was the only time his substantive answers, they weren't as smooth as some of the others. And finally, I think the question he asked about, will you accept the outcome of the election? Do you believe that President Trump does? And he didn't answer that. But you gotta, as you look at this thing overall, then you gotta say that he got the better of it. That being Senator Vance.
Did you?
Ooh-wee. That's a take from Harold Ford Jr. right there, saying that J.D. Vance came out on top. If we use Harold Ford Jr. as just a very general gauge as to how the average Democratic voter felt leaving that debate the other night, guys, they're saying that J.D. Vance came out on top. They can no longer hide the truth. They have to say, hey, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump is a way stronger ticket. Makes more sense to America than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. We've even got all the left-wing figures admitting, owning up to it now. You can't hide it any longer. It's the truth. I mean, we all seen it for ourselves.
Then you got to say that he got the better of it. That being Senator Vance.
Did you wear a tie like this for a special occasion? Post-debate
Is this a special occasion tie?
I mean, it feels like happy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Unlike you is what we're saying.
Yeah, see, that's a happy one.
This tie reflects the mood of the country. We are pleasantly surprised. How many times could you say that after watching these debates? Because there was the J.D. Vance hoax that was destroyed last night. We were told that this guy was a sketchball. And then many Americans, especially women, saw J.D. Vance last night, and they thought, this seems like the kind of guy you can bring home to your parents. He's smooth, he's polished, he's reasonable, he's civil, he's smart, he's humble. Everything that they said about him was completely the opposite. So he had a great night, but Trump even had a better night because Trump chose him. And remember, the first Trump term didn't pick the best people? A lot of people are now reassured that Trump is picking the right people this time. And in a race that is this tight, you know how they say Trump has like 94% of Republicans? Mm-hmm. Those 6% of Republicans, you call them Nikki Haley people, never Trumpers, Christie, they love J.D. Vance last night. I had so many texts from people like that saying, wow, J.D. Vance was amazing. And that's the kind of presentation that they long for, that Trump doesn't bring to the table, but that can bring independents, women with college degrees, and moderate Republicans back. So he added to the ticket and created momentum after the Democrats have had a real bad last 4 or 5 days. Walz seemed nice, but didn't have a story to tell. Just seemed discombobulated, and the media hated him because he wasn't nasty enough. Their whole goal is to make Trump the devil, and you can't agree with the devil. And a lot of the times they were nodding along, and it was like watching two Midwestern working class types of guys agree that the working class is kind of getting hosed by corporate America and by the powers that be. And that was really nice to see. That scared the hell out of the left because they don't want to see agreement. They want to see blood. So he made 2 huge mistakes. Everybody knows what they are. I'm friends with the school shooter. And was I in Hong Kong? I have no idea. Vance, 20 years younger than him. Does everybody know in the audience that Greg and Walz are the same age? Look how good he looks. Now put Walz on the screen. Now, you look at J.D. Vance, they say Kamala's the next generation. I look at J.D., he's the new generation.
Yep.
So a lot of people that know that Trump's termed out after 4 are going to look at this guy who can convey the American first message with an agreeable tone. They say this is a guy for the future.
You're telling me Walz is only 48?
You look so good, Greg. Thanks.
Yo, there we have it, guys. I'm not sure if this has been a breakthrough, an overnight miracle or what, but it seems that the left-wing media outlets, these journalists are coming out and they're reporting the truth about what actually happened on that debate stage. I mean, just think about it. There is no way that you could sit and try to lie when the facts, it's all right there. It's apparent right in front of everyone's eyes of what's going on, the results. And the left is panicking. They're seeing that their candidate, their vice presidential candidate, are not up to the task. I'm going to just say that much. And that's where I pivot back to Jesse Waters' point where he's saying, hey, those never Trumpers are waking up from their slumber, finally realizing what's going on. The illusion of the smoke in the mirrors all gone away, and now they can see straight to the truth. And they simply just don't have a candidate. Definitely not one that's fit to be running up against Donald Trump, J.D. Vance. We've seen both candidates outclassing their opponents on that debate stage, guys. Definitely out in the comment section, though. Let me know your thoughts. Also, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next one.